I was so excited to be in Australia. I had been dreaming of snorkeling, and the coast of Sydney was the ideal location. "Is it safe to swim out here?" I asked, having read the scariest stories that the internet provided. "Have a blast and don't worry," she advised me, and I was more than ready. Now, I'm not a beach person per se, but it was quite lovely. The surf was so refreshing that I shortly found myself immersed in the water, floating dreamily and letting all my cares go by the wayside. It was such a treat that I did not immediately notice the subtle yet determined current that I'd drifted into. I knew better than to panic, but the fear arose in me just the same. Calmly, but with shaking legs, I tried to reverse myself and swim in the direction of the shore. Well, suddenly, I felt a bump from below. I had no time to revelate on this. I was lifted by a solid mass and instinctively clung to the one thing in my field of vision, a fin. I knew it was a shark fin. By all rights, I should have been afraid, but as the creature headed for the shore with me clinging to it, felt nothing but gratitude. Abruptly, the shark shook me off. I found myself touching the ocean floor, still at a distance from the shore, but I was perfectly safe. I could make it. I watched the dark form of the beast swim back into the depths with quiet awe. He had saved my life. Almost weepy with gratitude and a little limp from the whole experience, I started wading back to the beach. But before I even managed one waterlogged step, I found I had another visitor. A dolphin poked his head out of the water and chortled at me. I was instantly excited to meet this sweet jester of the sea. I tried to pet his head, but he dunked it under the surface and what I thought was a playful game. But he popped up once again, this time snapping his jaws at me. My mind went through all the documentaries I had watched, and I wasn't sure if I remembered seeing dolphin teeth. I was seeing them now, about 100 tiny, sharp triangles. And that's when I realized the shark had saved me from a gang of rapist dolphins. Oh no. Something is under the bed, but it's everywhere else, according to this story. Dad came into his son's room to tuck the boy in for the night. The boy was already scared, indeed trembling and holding the blanket over his head. "Daddy, I think there is something under my bed." The father, having been through the monsters under the bed routine before, knew the best way to deal with this common childhood fear was to actually play along. In mock seriousness, the dad rolls up his sleeves, saying, "Oh, really? Well then, let me take a look and make sure it's all clear." And Dad knelt down beside the bed, making a bit of a show of it for his son. He lifts some overhanging blankets and peers underneath, only to lock his eyes with the same son crouching in fear under the bed. And that son whispers to him, "Dad, I think there's someone in my bed." At that, the father, despite the terrible fright surging through him, arises and continues to play along as best he could. No, there's nothing there." But his son, the one in the bed, still gripping blankets and curled up in fear, seems unconvinced, surely spotting the fear in his father's eyes. "Sandra? Mom, can you please come here for a minute?" Mom comes in the room. "Yes, hi boys, what can I help you with?" chirped Mom as she appeared in the boys' bedroom doorway. Hon, just the usual monster clearance mission. Maybe you can help." And the mom, also familiar with the boys' fears, put on her own play-along routine as well. Oh dear, boys. Well, let's see if we can do a check under the bed. Mum dips down, bends her neck, and sees nothing but the empty space underneath. Nope, all clear, nothing under the bed. Well, now the father and son are both in a state of shock. They can't bring themselves to speak, and the father can barely stutter. But Mom is already play-acting her way over to the closet door, which she opens just a few inches and, in a mock-cautious way, presses her head into the closet. Let's see, any monsters in here? And in the darkness, between hanging clothes, a frightened dad is standing, a finger pressed up against his lips, and whispers, "Sandra, there's someone in the room. Shh." The mum puts her finger up to her lips. "Shh, I know, dear." And with a smile closes the closet door, smoothly takes a key from her nightgown pocket and quietly locks the closet door behind her. In this story, somebody is 6 feet under with somewhere to go. It seems impossible to believe, but I was accidentally buried alive. You have to understand, I'd been backpacking in one of the most remote and rural areas of East Asia, where local villagers simply misunderstood the very rare type of coma that I'd fallen into. When I came to, it took me a while to even understand where I was, but I could feel the velour bedding stuffed with what felt like straw. I could feel the shape. There was nothing to see, as in complete and utter darkness. The horror that overcame me was so overwhelming, and the screams I made, the screams would surely be heard by someone above, and soon I could not scream anymore. But then, just as terrified as I'd been, a great relief came over me when I heard the sounds of digging. Faint sounds at first, not easy to hear, but as they got a little louder, I knew it was the sounds of hands digging away at dirt. And in my mind, I could almost see them, a dozen villagers maybe. Having heard my screams below, they were frantically clawing their way down to me. I tried to yell up to them, "I'm here! Hurry! I'm alive! Hurry!" And I tried banging my hands and feet against the coffin lid. The sounds of the dirt being dug away were getting louder and louder as they got closer and closer to me, and then I no longer made any noises, but I froze in quiet terror. Because you see, I realized the sounds of clawed dirt being scraped away weren't coming from above. Instead, they were coming upwards and ever closer to me from below.